Assalamu alaikum everyone to listen to me in this moment to explaining the symbol lesson for of day. So that's the lesson. When I want to explain this lesson, there are different parts or ways to use it for using to explain this lesson. That's very important. Depend on the level of the student, depending on about the words, depending on about the circumstance to explain that lesson. When I want to use different spot for explain this lesson, I need the students here, the student in front of me, make the simple exercise for explaining that lessons. So I want to start it to use the simple way to explain this lesson. When here about to ask the information that the title, the in general title about this lesson, use it with what? Yes, use it with what? How can I use a difference, the belly question to create the idea or create the simple answer of this question? In general, question to use it with the with information about the what. When use it another double question, give the another answer for these questions. So here I don't need to use it. I don't want to use a different part neutrality in this lesson. That's the lesson depending on about the simple exercise for explaining with the student themselves all together to use it dash vocabulary and give the idea and use different items for about that's for words, yeah, to understand me about the word, use it the perfectly way about this word, but it's okay as well as to explain the lessons. So here about the give me about the simple example for this lesson, or the asking the informations, the ask information about department store. Here about the department store. Here about the ground. Give about the word the ground floor and the first floor. When make the group or is the group with the students, make two about two parts. The each group have about this word. The another group use the another words. How can them use that word for about the conversations, about the role play, and brainstorming to each other for this lesson? That's very important. So here about the simple vocabulary for about the department store. How can this department different categories in this store? So here about say about the ground floor and the first floor. You can find in for about the items like the bookshop, about the carpenter. How can I use it? That's vocabulary to use with the simple example, with the simple conversation with my students or my partners in the at the class. So here about the simple example for the ground floor, for the bookshop, carpenter, or ladies wear, lightings, pharmacy, and the supermarket, for example. That is a simple word or is the simple word used in this floor. The another words or another vocabulary use the first floor here about the bathroom equipment, kitchen, the kitchen equipment, newspaper, toys, radio, cassettes, and CDs, cutlery, and so on. So that is a simple vocabulary. Use it with the simple example. Here about give about the simple conversations. Read this conversation aloud with the partner. How can share that's the word, that's the simple word with my classmate at the class to explain to use the different spot for this word. Here about started the excuse me. Start the simple conversation. Excuse me, where can I buy spade? In the gardening department on the ground floor. Thank you if very much. Thank you very much. The another example, the another conversations about the excuse me, do you know where I can buy a spade? Yes, in the gardening department on the ground floor. Thank you very much. That is the simple vocabulary used. Maybe you can change it about that's the vocabulary words with the another word here and using this conversation with your partner in the same exercise. That's the vocabulary. What you can use the vocabulary in this the categories of vocabulary to use the vocabulary in these categories. That's the simple idea. The another things here, how can I use it the vocabulary with two part questions? When you use it about maybe the last semester, explain about direct indirect speech. Direct indirect speech with the question. Yes, explain with the question in this lesson. Because the firstly he started with the question, depended on use about the question. How can I use this question? Use it the direct and indirect question for asking about this department store. So he started with the directly. Directly when talk directly speech with the others about this question. The another part indirectly give the another side maybe the same meaning but the another side use it with the questions. That's the in general means to use it with the direct indirect speech. Here about the simple example. Yes, about here. Here about the simple example, how can I use it or change the sentence to questions? With what? What the one, that's the what about the one the belly question. The one use it or one item to use it in the belly questions. How can I get the information or asking for information? Use it with what? The simple example here about how I can buy a toy. That's the example. When I want to change this example, the simple sentence, to the direct speech or direct speech is, what can I buy? Yes, that is the simple question you can create it in this with the sentence. When you want to change it the direct speech to indirect speech, use it with some expressions like here, I like to know. I like to know what you can buy. You can change it or change it replace about you and can. How can you create it the question to create the question or change the question to sentence in order to create the indirect speech question? Maybe this is the simple explanation just in this moment for this lesson. That's the explanation a lot in this lesson for explaining about this lesson with about the vocabulary, how can you use this vocabulary in this lesson. That's very important. I want inshallah another time to explain about how can I use it. How can I use it on anyone direct speech for different bar, different categories, with different example, with different pronouns relied in the language. So that's enough now to explaining about that's the simple example direct speech with this lesson, because when I want to use the direct speech, there are many different parts to direct speech with the sentence, with the example, with the sentence, and with the questions. Maybe you can use with the comfortably. Yes, I think the comfortably like that. I can remember. I remind you now. But like that, yes. But in general, use with the question, with the sentence and question, direct speech. So that's enough now to explain like the simple lesson in this moment. Finally, for about this lesson, here about the simple examples. For about the simple example, the image or the photo or pictures to use with the simple exercise in these questions. How can you replace the each one in this question and make the exercise with your partners? Just the symbol here about the simple examples to use in the conversation. And this the symbol box here, the symbol box for about give the some instructions and suggestions or suggestion you how can you learn the word or vocabulary, understanding that, remember that, reminding that word, in your journey for studying for this language. Just in this the simple steps to give you about in this lesson. I am happy to see to talking with you in this moment, everyone to listen to me in this time. See you the next lesson. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.